you know something? You know you're going to have a great conversation when our friend is getting into the music in the green room. So you know it's a good thing. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here with the Honorable Dr. Tachi. What is up, Dr. Tachi? You're on mute.
I was all excited. What's up with you, sir?
And I'm telling you, like, not too many times when I do live conversations do I see the friend or friends in the green room getting there saying, okay, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Absolutely. This is good. What is up, everybody? Again, Dr. Tachi and Dr. Vibe here. As always, want to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles and a solution for someone's problem. What's going on with you, Dr. Tachi?
Same old, you know, just trying to, it's so interesting trying to do a show and then having to run a whole bunch of other shows. So, you know, I'm like, I have to make sure Monday is a busy day. I have to make sure all the shows we're ready to run. And of course, there was a little thing that came up, so I had to solve that. Then I have to go put makeup on, and that, which you all don't know about.
No, but I have to make sure I got my shine on. So that's the closest thing I have to makeup.
Okay.
That's the closest.
But I'm fantastic.
Yeah, I am really excited as always to be in your presence. Man, this is like the last few weeks, we've been on together at least once, whether it's debates and now this epic conversation.
It's very true. Very true indeed.
And I like that.
So do I. We need to make it more often.
We looking at that. We go and do that. So okay. Why don't you share a little bit about yourself right quick, and I'll share about myself, and we'll get right into the conversation.
So I am a media professor, a filmmaker, a media content producer. I'm also a journalist. I am the founder of Indie Soup Media, which is I would call it a full service content network, and we are for the independent content creator to showcase their work. I also am the host and founder of MediaScope, which has been going for 9 years now, all things media tech and pop culture.
100%. And for those who don't know me, my name is Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, two-time Canadian Ethic Media Association award winner, co-host and co-producer of the only online show for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. Been doing that since 2020. And our team's reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And I've been hosting online since 2009. So we ain't new to the game. No. We ain't new to the game. But this is really exciting to have this. I like to people come on the platform friend coming on. So if you want to know anything about live streaming, we got some of the best of the best. For those who listen to rock music, there was a group called Van Halen, and one of their popular songs was "Right Here, Right Now." I don't know, did they do that before the Pepsi commercial? I think I don't know if they did that or not, but I don't know. So
I remember that song.
Yeah, I know you're not a big rock listener, but it was on the Pepsi commercial.
Right here, right now. I remember that. Listen, I remember.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little about Kirk R. Nugent. He's an expert live stream coach, accomplished content creator, has reinvented how small businesses and also consumers, entrepreneurs, and faith-based entities reach the world, whether he's engaged in one-on-one training to help those seek and to grow their business. He's captivating audiences, including this audience and the audience beside me, through Amazon and CNN with his expertise as a product ambassador. His goal is to help organizations leverage innovation. As the host and producer of the show, How It All Works, which you definitely need to check out on YouTube, he believes a corporation, no matter their size, should, quote, stop selling, start streaming, and let the clients come to you. So let's invite, for the first time and hopefully not the last time, Mr. Kirk R. Nugent. What is up? And he's on mute too. Oh, there we go. I took him off.
Okay.
All right. That's my fault.
Man, I am super excited to be here. This is a great space you guys have already set up for people to just kind of come through, have these epic conversations. Did my homework, so I'm ready to rock and roll. So.
Come on, homework.
Homework. We didn't ask you to do any of that.
Yeah, well, listen, I teach guesting, so You got to do a couple of things before you go on anybody's platform. You got to know the norms. You got to know, you got to check out some things. You got to feel out what the audience is going to. So listen, I'm locked and loaded. I'm ready to go.
You're already giving good guests. You know how to give good guests.
Come on.
Okay, so before we get into a little about your story, what are some of the knowledge bombs you can drop on an audience about being a good guest?
Being a good guest, number one, you want to bring your full self to the conversation, right? So come with high energy, come looking to have a good time, be ready to talk. You know, there are times where you get a guest and they give you like these sentence answers. That's not fun. Where you as a host have to really be, really poking and prodding. Come ready to have a conversation. Listen, this is my cheat code. Think of guesting on anybody else's show or podcast as if you just kind of ran into them at the coffee shop and you just sitting down to have a conversation. Yes, you can do some prep in terms of the questions and different things that you're going to be asked, but look to have a honest conversation. If you would normally talk about the fact that the kids are practicing piano on the other side of the wall right there, then talk about that, because that is what good flowing conversations are like. But in some of the other things are, number one, you want to take a look at some of the previous shows and take a look at what the format and flow is. Look at the comment section, see what that looks like, see how the people engage. Man, if you can reference something that they talked about before on a previous show, that's a cheat code, man. I mean, so all of those things really help to really make you a good guest. And one of the things that a guest should always be striving for is that next invite, right? So that's definitely the thing as well. So if you can figure out a way to drop a bomb, right? I like to tell people that your live stream is your digital storefront. Because there's no greater way to go from busy and broke to peaceful and paid than for your ideal audience to see you do your thing. Because when you do your thing live, they don't need the taste test or the ad campaign. They're ready to book the business because they saw you do your thing live. And when you share stuff like that, stuff that you just can roll right off of the tongue, that's the kind of thing that allows you, the audience of your host, to really lock in with you, and they see your host as somebody who's curating a space and bringing experts to the table that you wouldn't find otherwise. And so,
where's my microphone to drop?
Listen, microphones are too expensive in 2024, in the year of our Lord, to be dropping. Okay.
Man.
Before I know Dr. Tachi has a lot of things she wanted about. I want to find out a little bit about the background. How did you get from where you were to who you are today? What sparked your interest in the live streaming game?
So I'm a IT professional by trade and training, right? So I started on the help desk, level 1 technician. I'm the guy that you would call and I would answer the phone and be like, help desk, how can I help you? And I would take your information down. I'd try to help you fix the issue. And then probably I'd have to dispatch a technician to you. And then I graduated to where I was the one that actually came and unplugged and put back in the mouse. And then took the paper out of the printer because your printer was jammed. That was my life for a long while. And I loved technology. And then because I kind of rose through the ranks to get into the leadership aspects of technology, one of the things that was always being paired with technology wherever I went was media. It's like, okay, media, you're the IT director, so we're going to put media with you. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about media. So I was learning from my team. When I was a missionary in South Africa, I was working at an NGO there. And I had a team of like 7 or 8 people that were in the media department, and they were running a 24/7 television station. And I was like, okay, I've got to learn what is this? I'm supposed to be your boss. I don't know exactly how that's supposed to work out. So I decided to do my first foray in YouTube, which was a fitness vlog. I was doing my vlog as a means of being accountable. I was looking to lose some weight, and that worked out very well, actually. That worked out very well. So I lost 40 pounds on that journey.
Wow.
It's amazing. So I vlogged my way through every day. I did a pre and post workout video, and that was my first, foray into the content creator world. And that's where I got bitten by the bug, I'd say. Really wanted to kind of learn the ins and outs of broadcast from production. So, big box production, of course, personal self-supported streamer type productions as well. When StreamYard first hit the streets, I was shocked because I could not believe that a company had figured out how to put all of the components of broadcast into a browser. It just blew my mind. Then I decided, okay, if I take some of the history, some of the background that I have with broadcast and apply it to this platform, what could be possible? And so that's where the YouTube thing started coming up, where I started kind of cover different pieces of how could you, okay, the answer is no. Can you do that with StreamYard? The answer is no, but if you do this and this and this and this, the answer is actually yes. And those are some of the things that kind of got me started. Really just put my first video out on YouTube to train some folks at my church, and they watched the video and said, can you make it public, because we want to share it with some other friends. So I did that, and then the video got 10,000 views, and I was like, well, I guess I can put out a couple more videos. so those are some of the pieces of the puzzle that kind of brought me to where I am today.
Wow.
And I'm excited about it. I'm extremely grateful for it.
Go ahead.
Wow. Yeah. So what has changed between the time? Well, first of all, before I get in there, I need to say hello to my audience on every place, but on Instagram, I'm in as Indie Soup Media. So if you see me chatting with you, I'm Indie Soup Media. So welcome in. Make sure that you are asking questions, because we have an amazing guest. And I have a question for you. What has really changed from the time you started doing all of this to now?
Well, I think so. First of all, people had a lot of time in the pandemic, so that was a major motivator for a lot of those podcasts and different types of content that were jumping off of the ground, and people were doing all kinds of stuff, and so people had a lot of time. And so now, when outside became open again, we started kind of get back into a regular rhythm and flow. People now had to kind of figure out, how do I work this into my everyday life? And so one of the things I'd say that has changed is that finding that motivation. It's one thing to have a regular and consistent show like what you guys have here, when you have nothing but time on your hands, right? Everybody's at home. It's a totally different thing to do that with all of the other things that life is requiring of you. And helping people to kind of find that balance is something that I've been excited to do as a content coach. But other thing I will also say, there's a publication that comes out every year. What are some of the trends that you see happening in content creation for the coming year? Last year, one of the things I said was audience as currency, right? Audience as currency. If you don't have an audience, it's not like you can actually decide tomorrow to buy one. You have to, everyone, I don't care if you're a celebrity or if you're a nobody, everyone must build an audience. And there are certain playgrounds you can only gain access to if you have an audience. And so there are so many different people that were coming to me and several others who are in my space to try to figure out, how do I grow an audience? I've worked with former football players. I've worked with actors who have been turned down for roles because they don't have an audience. You see what I'm saying now? I've worked with writers whose books and manuscripts were not chosen and not published because they don't have an audience. You see what I'm saying? And so I think there's a huge groundswell. I've worked with parents whose kids are aspiring athletes. They're in high school. Some are going on to college, to create content and an audience, because one of the major differentiators from getting the school that you want, as opposed to just getting the school that chose you, is having a presence online and having an audience. This is a major shift that we're seeing happening in the landscape right now. Because when you have an audience as an actor, you bring that audience to the next film. And that is something that as a filmmaker they can monetize. They're gonna pay you differently when you have an audience from when you don't. This latest edition of Bad Boys is solid gold, in my opinion. If you haven't seen it, go out and watch it, because they've merged these worlds of creators and actors, and they have the creators doing the thing they do online in the movie. It's just absolutely amazing. So we're seeing that kind of shift and change as well, and staying on top of those ebbs and flows is something that I absolutely love to do. So yeah. I love that question. There's a lot more that's changing, but I figured I'd throw those out as well, just to give you an answer to your question. But man, no, there's a lot happening with content that most people don't necessarily connect the dots to. So audience is one of them. And I think that's definitely one that's pivotal for the audience today.
Great. Well, classic coach Cash Lou says hello.
Come on.
Oh, good. Hey, Minnie on cam.
What's going on, Minnie?
Hey, there we go. I have a conversation piece. What are the key elements for a content creator to have a successful live stream?
Oh yeah. So first of all, your run of show or your run sheet is a roadmap. It is your GPS. You as the host, you need to be taking the audience to a specific destination. And so your run sheet allows you some latitude to have some spontaneity and to kind of roll with the punches and the ebbs and flows of the show. But it also keeps you focused on, we are going somewhere, and I do want to land somewhere. I do want to bring my audience to a particular thing. There is value that I want to make sure I am providing. A lot of people disassociate live shows from the same principles and tenets of successful content creation, and that's a mistake. You do need to have a value proposition. You do need to be speaking to a target audience. That's critical. So if you have a live show that's it's kind of all over, no, your audience knows you for a particular thing. You want to make sure that even as your guest comes in, you have those things in mind. I got a chance to be a guest on Michael Stelzner's podcast. Michael Stelzner is the founder of Social Media Marketing World, and major conference that happens every year in San Diego. I think they're talking about moving it, but either way, it was a major. It was one of the highlights. It was like, oh snap, I'm going to be on this podcast, and I got a invitation for a pre-show meeting. I thought, man, this is different. Maybe I need to incorporate this too. And in the pre-show meeting, he told me about his avatar. He told me about his perfect person. He told me about his target audience, and he had a name for her. I'm not going to say her name, but he had a name for her. He told me how old she is and how many kids she has, what her normal day looks like. He told me all of these things about her. And he said, here are the questions we're going to touch on in the show. I want you to speak to her. And so when you talk about being, what are the tenets of a successful live show? You want to make sure that you as the host and your guest know exactly who they're speaking to and exactly what value you want to walk away from this particular show. There's a way that you're going to advertise your show. There's a way that there's something you want people to walk away with. Make sure you check that box. And that's why I say your run of show or your run sheet or whatever you call it, show GPS, is going to take you to a specific destination. And as a host, that is one of the primary things that you want to make sure you do. And it doesn't have to be eternal for it to be effective. So you can get there in however long it takes you to get there. Now, there's some people, should it be an hour? Should it be 20 minutes? Should it be 45? It takes however long it takes for you to actually land. And if you can land it in 15 minutes, by all means, be my guest. I'm a talker, so it's not going to happen today. Yeah, for those who are looking for the 15-minute show, you can go in. It's going to be about an hour. I'll just letting you know now. I'm a talker. So, but those are some of the pieces that I think make up a successful show. You can always tell when there's a plan for you as a guest, as a viewer. You can always tell when the hosts have something in store for you, and it's exciting to see it all come together.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Thank you. You'll learn that I'm quite silly.
I love it.
Now, in all of your wisdom and all of your expertise, do you still use a run of show every single time? And even if you are an expert, do you suggest that someone always use a run sheet or a run of show?
So it depends on the show. It depends on if it's new, if I'm doing it for the first time, if I am the host / producer on camera, or if I'm behind the scenes. If I'm behind the scenes producing the show, I want to run a show because I want to know what's coming next. If I'm going to be clicking the buttons and somebody else is hosting, then I definitely want to know, I want to have something, and vice versa. If I am on screen and I have a producer clicking the buttons, I want to run a show. Because this is one of the primary ways that we communicate with one another. They know, oh, okay, he's moving into that segment. Let me play this bumper. We need to put this graphic up. Let me get ready, right? So run of show, absolutely critical, regardless if you've been doing it for years or not. Now, for self-supported streamers, there is some latitude here, because if you've been doing your show for a while, you know what the general outline is. I think there's some, room to kind of just go with it. But one of the things I will say that I do ensure I'm checking, even though I've been doing this for years, is my pre-show checklist. Now, my pre-show checklist is non-negotiable, because I want to make sure that the camera doesn't turn off midstream.
Right.
I want to make sure that, I don't run out of hard drive space because I'm recording. I don't want to make sure that, the lighting profile is set the way that I want it to be set. And I'm not dependent on the sun is setting, it's going to change. No, I want to be sure that my mic is placed where I want it to be, it's set to where I want it to be. And those are some of the technical pieces that are in my pre-show checklist. But there are some mindset pieces that are in my pre-show checklist as well, right? I want to get into a certain space. Yeah. I like to laugh a lot before I go on a live show, because I want to be in a laughing mood. I want to be smiling. I just want that to come across natural. I don't want to, because you can tell when somebody's forcing the smile and when somebody's absolutely having a good time. And so I want to make sure I'm doing those things. Eric Thomas is somebody I follow. He talks about doing 50 push-ups. That's just not my ministry. But I can see why, because as this public speaker, he's trying to get into a particular space. He's trying to get into a particular voice space. There's a certain timbre and texture that he has in his voice. If you notice, he has it every single time. And how does he do that? He goes through a pre-show checklist. And if it's good enough for the #1 motivational speaker in the world, I think it's good enough for me. So those are some of the things that I would absolutely say, you have some latitude with the run sheet, especially if you're just, if you're producing the show yourself. But if you have somebody that is producing the show for you, that run sheet really helps the two of you to kind of communicate better. But there's some latitude there. But I do not believe there's any latitude in a pre-show checklist. I think, my goodness, you will find yourself in a world of hurt. Because, man, I know I should have checked that. I can't tell you how many times I've said it. I know I should have checked that, but I didn't, because I was rushing or whatever. And I know life happens. I want to be clear. Yeah. You leave room for that stuff as well. But as far as you can be intentional, go through those steps just to make sure, those boxes are checked. And it gives you a level of confidence on camera when you know everything is done. Yeah. That's something that a lot of my coaching clients have said to me as well. It's like, man, that checklist, man, when I went through my checklist, I knew I had done my best. Now, if something happens, if the camera falls over, I can't do anything about that. But you've done your best to show up. And because you've done that, there's a level of confidence that exudes from you while you're on camera that you can't get any other way. And so, I think those are some of the pieces that are critical when you're getting ready to go live.
So Minion Camp says, my avatar name is Shelly Ann. Someone from the media, in the Indie Soup Media family says, good evening, all. JR.
Good evening.
Hey.
And Minion Camp says, yes, sharing screen is what had me stop doing live streams and just upload videos.
Well, listen, there are ways to get over that hurdle. Because I think there's a component that you are missing with live that you cannot get any other way. That's why I believe, live streaming is the top of the content creator pyramid. You can get every other type of content from live, but you cannot get a live stream from any other type of content. You can get a podcast, you can get Quote Me, you can get a reel, you can get a short, you can get, listen, audiograms. You can get it all from a live, but you cannot get a live stream from any other piece. And the other thing that happens while live is that comments will come in, and it gives you an opportunity to showcase your secret sauce, to showcase your genius, listen, on command, if you will, right? And those are the moments that I actually use as reels. When the questions come in that I could not have prepared for because I didn't know you were coming. I didn't know you were going to ask that. And it's the answers that you come up with in the moment that I even sometimes have to go back and say, man, how did I answer that? That was good. That was crazy. That's the live component. And this is why the subtagline for How It All Works is let's figure it out together. Because there's something that happens when we're together that you can't mimic, you cannot duplicate, you cannot tap back into when you're just looking at a camera. So I love produced. Now, don't get me wrong. I do produce content, but live, man, there's something about live. There's just something special about live.
I love it. Love it. D. Caprio says, hello, Dr. Tachi.
Hey, D.
And also Hannah Boyd Miller says, good evening.
Good evening,
Jack. And
good evening. Love it.
Good you're back. And that was the next conversation piece I was going to ask you about is how can people who host live streams, what suggestions would you have them to increase viewer engagement if they're not getting the engagement they're looking for?
Oh, look, so two things. Number one, plant them. Give your son a phone and say, ask me this question about 10 minutes in. Preload it. Type it in there for them. All they have to do is press send. Give them a random YouTube account, and then you begin to engage with that person. And see, engagement begets engagement. So if you have to push that, that boulder off the hill, push it. Yes. Because it will happen organically. I've got moderators who have some questions and some canned things that I want them to put in only if there isn't organic ones. And most of the time we don't ever get to those other questions because the organic ones come. Secondly, do some things in your run of show that are for the audience. So during my regular live shows, we had a segment right in the middle that we had a question that was not for me or my guest. It was for the audience. And I would put that question up on screen. I would ask it, and then I would go back to talking because, there's a delay, and you have to understand these things about live. It's about a 90-second delay, depending on what platforms you're streaming to. So it's going to take some time. And this happens, with my coaching clients, I was like, well, I asked the question and I was just waiting. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know that moment. It's rough. You ask the question and they haven't seen it yet. And so they can't respond to it yet. You got to have something canned ready to do after you've asked the question. So you ask the question and then you talk about some filler things and then you ask the question again. And by that time they may have heard it the first time. And then you can begin to engage with those questions. I got a good friend, Walter Jeanette. He does a thing. Put a 2 in the chat if you can hear me. And he goes on to doing some other stuff. And then he's like, oh, I got all my 2s in the chat. Oh, and then he starts to engage with them. Oh, I see you out here, Dr. Vibe. Oh, Dr. Tachi is here tonight. Thank you so much for being with us. All they did was put a 2 in the chat, but he's already engaging them. Hey, last time you were here, you said so-and-so. How's that going? Now they're putting stuff in the chat as well. It's building those moments in that allow for natural organic engagement. The reason why live content is watched more than any other type is because the viewer has an opportunity to influence what that live content actually is. Mm-hmm. They can put a comment in the chat and actually send things a totally different direction. And that's the reason why people don't want to leave, because there's this component of FOMO. Like, I don't know what's going to be said. This is live. Like, I don't want to miss out on this piece. And so you want to play up on that. Somebody says something, hey, last week you said so-and-so. And so there may be 10, 20% of the audience that are here this week that weren't here last week. Like, oh snap, that was said last week, man. Maybe I need to go back Are you seeing the there's a number of ways that you can drum up engagement if you want to drum up engagement. I've seen the bigger YouTubers do things like they'll do something on Instagram, they'll put a post out there for people to answer questions, and then when they come on their live stream on YouTube, they're responding to the questions that were on Instagram. So then the audience is there like, well, where are these answers? Where are these questions coming from? Oh, I posted that on Instagram yesterday. You see, so you can prime the pump. There are many different ways, and you can have that stuff already printed out, ready to respond to. I mean, that's a ultimate cheat code, honestly. I mean, if you have questions already before you go live, oh man, you've got content for days. And so, yeah, there are many ways to drum up more engagement while live. Just being intentional and thinking it through. What would it cause you to engage if were you to be in the viewer's seat? And listen, that's another cheat code as well. So many of my, I was talking to, I don't even want to say the name, but I was talking to somebody and they were telling me I don't really watch many live shows. I was like, well, you're not going to be successful at live streaming. I'm gonna let that sit in for somebody in the back that didn't quite listen. Yeah, you're not going to be successful. You don't. Oh, I don't watch many live shows. So how do you know what works? How do you know what the audience is doing and feeling and experiencing when they're sitting in the audience? You got to be in the audience at some point to be able to know how to be a good host. Listen, they didn't call me here to preach, but I mean, I'll come down your aisle.
I'm looking for my tambourine. Yeah, I'm looking for my tambourine right now.
I'll come down your aisle now.
Next time you come, I'll wear the same black shirt, but I'll have a white collar. I'll have a white collar. I even put the tissue paper around it.
Listen. You all you need is the.
Listen.
Okay.
No. These are the things I mean, you just got you got to bring your full self. It's a cheat code, but again, you got to know you. You got to know you. You got to know you in order to bring full you to whatever it is that you're doing. So
absolutely.
I'm gonna before you get going, Dr. Tachi, if I don't put in some comments out, we're gonna be so bad.
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted you to do, to put up some comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anna Boyd Miller, good evening.
Good evening.
PR Houston Jack says, I enjoy going live. Sometimes the wonkiness gets me, but I still love it. Yep. The Food Plane says, hello, Dr. Tachi, fellow MediaScopers, Dr. Vive and Kirk. DS here. Indie Suit Media says, hello all. The Food Plane says, hello, D.
Love it.
Indie Suit Media, hey, Food Plane.
Yeah.
Also says, hey, Anna. D says, hey, DS.
I love it.
It's hey, D. Food Plane says, what a nice surprise. I was about to prepare a delicious chocolate cake.
Listen,
come on.
And this man can cook. If you are not following DS on YouTube, you should be. He has been a chef for over 20 years. And the other day, he made Jamaican beef patty.
Get out of here.
Yes.
What?
I love
yes.
That's a staple.
Yes. That's saying. Yes. Okay. And then the last one I'll do for now. Well, there's still so many things. Food Plate says, hey. D says, yes, thank you, DS. Need them prayers because it's bad. You can say
yes.
And PR says, great tip. It helps to be in the audience to be
a better host. That's correct, sir.
Go ahead.
Coach Caslu also did have a question. I don't know if you see it.
Go ahead if you see it.
Yeah, I do. She asked any suggestions on combination adult and child live streams, or just for youth, maybe top 5 tips.
So is your audience adult and youth, or are you saying you want to bring your kids on the live stream with you, or you bring some kids, maybe they're not yours, but are you saying that the creators are going to be adult and youth, or are you saying the target is adult and youth? I just need a little more clarity there. The reason why I ask is because, of course, it will be slightly different strategies for either. There's you definitely want to make sure you are guarding. If you have some kids with you that are going to be on the live stream, you want to make sure that you do some things to ensure that certain comments don't pop up, that there's, that you're safeguarding those younger eyes, those younger ears. Folks are crazy in these internet streets. Okay. So definitely want to make sure we do some of those pieces. But when you're targeting kids, you got to make the content quick. You got to make it quick. You got to make it bite-sized. You got to make it, even if you're going to do an hour show, right? So if your target is younger people and maybe their parents, it would be very difficult. Let me say that probably first. It would be very difficult to target, a range. You really need to be sticking with a particular audience, because what works for, let's say, 3 to 7 is not going to work for 7 to 14. Not at all. Like those are two totally different audiences. They resonate with two totally different things. And if I'm quite honest with you, 7 to 14 doesn't resonate with any of us. They just don't resonate with us.
100%.
And definitely not long form content. There is a way to do long form content for kids if you get, if you really hone in on the parent and the child, and you're doing something that they can maybe even do together if there's an activity. But even with that, you still want to make it fast paced. You want to, have different segments in your show. You want to have something over here, and then you press a button, and now you're looking at something else, and you press a button, and now we're looking at a top down shot. You want to make sure you have some pattern interrupts, because keeping that level of attention for a child is going to require that. It's going to require that. And maybe even going to another place. Maybe you have a pre-recorded segment that's outside, and you play that in a certain point in your show. But having that fast pace, having those pattern interrupts, making sure that you're holding that attention, that there's activity for them to do. Maybe that you want them to yell at the screen, and maybe you have some, but those are pieces that you want to make sure you're incorporating into content that is specifically geared to smaller kids, and who are probably going to be watching with their parents. And so you want to make sure you hold that parent's attention as well. And this is what I mean by understanding the target, right? There is a child that's not going to be able to just watch you by themselves. They're going to be watching with a parent or a guardian of some sort. You want to hold that guardian's attention as well. And you want to be respectful, right? Because that guardian is going to be like, I don't know if I like this. I don't want my child watching this. So you got to keep those things in mind, because the watch time is going to be based on the person who has the authority to swipe or to keep you locked in. So keep that in mind as well.
Fantastic. And if I could, LaShondra Tinsley, who is watching us over on my Instagram, says that's the same for an adult too, as I understand it. Pattern interrupts.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Pattern interrupts is you don't need as many. Let me say it differently. Pattern interrupts are definitely like where you do a zoom in and zoom out. Maybe you have something that's a slow zoom, panning across. Those are all pattern interrupts. When I put a graphic on the screen, when I put let me go to you bring up a logo or something. When you do those kinds of things, those are all pattern interrupts. It causes the eyes, if they have wandered, to come back to the screen because there's something different there. Even if it's just a different angle, if it's just a slightly different look, you want to make sure that those pattern interrupts are there for adults, for whoever. But for kids, it's a faster paced show where you want to get to the point. Don't make it suspenseful for kids. Give it to them and make sure that there's some kind of activity on there as well. So I couldn't agree with you more. Yes, pattern interrupts is definitely something for adults as well. And it's if you can incorporate it into your live shows and into your content, absolutely do what you can.
I wanted to get this question in, if you don't mind, Dr. Vibes, since
as long as not too many comments coming, because I got a lot of catching up to. So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. But I want, if you could please talk about what your simplest setup would be. I know some people get intimidated by live streaming because they think, well, I have to have this. I have to have a Red camera. I don't have an Ari Alexa. I don't have this. And so they don't do it at all. Yeah. So can you give a very simple, bare bones setup for somebody who's maybe just starting in the live streaming game or live streams?
Listen, if you can prop your phone up on a windowsill, you can live stream. You got a phone has the camera and the microphone on there, so you're pretty much good to go. I always tell people to start with what you have. Do an assessment. What do you currently have? I did this once with a client, and we actually found lights. We found all kinds of stuff. I mean, there were floodlights from her garage, but there were lights. And so she had actually a good amount of what she needed, and we didn't have to go to the store. Now, we did use her webcam on her laptop. We went live. Let's be clear. The process, or the order of importance, is sound, light, then video. Sound, light, then video. Say it one more time. Sound, light, and then video. And for the believers among us, that's actually the way God started as well. You know, we're just following the order of creation. And there's somebody who's sitting there thinking to himself right now, like, oh no, he started with light, Kirk. You're absolutely correct. And that is that you may come with that argument, and you'd be accurate to an extent, because he spoke it. He said, let there be light. Oh, let me stop now. But the point is, sound, light, then video. You start with sound. You've got to, people will sign off for bad sound. So if you can prioritize sound, that's the number one thing to prioritize. If you're going to make a first investment, that would be the first thing to invest in, is to get a good mic. And then work on the lighting, because all lights, listen, great lighting makes all cameras better. Great lighting makes all cameras better. And so if you've been at a wedding and you're part of the card carrying wedding paparazzi crew like me, where you got your phone out and you're snapping the pictures while the photographer is taking their pictures as well, and you're looking at your pictures and you're wondering why did they need the photographer? Because mine look just as good as the photographer's pictures. That's because the photographer lit the shot. Great lighting makes all cameras better. And so you're if you take all that lighting away and you take the same picture again, it's not going to look the same. Great lighting makes all cameras better. So you start with sound, you move on to lighting, and then you can take care of your video. It's the most expensive of the investments you'll make in a studio is video, but it should be the last. It should be the last. How to get started? Start with whatever you have. If you got a laptop, get started. You got a phone, man, prop that thing up and get started. Do whatever, be as intentional as you possibly can to ensure that, you know, it can have a level of professionalism, but don't let the tech stand in the way of providing whatever value you have to provide. And this is the last thing I'll say where studio setups are concerned. Don't let your acquisition of gear outpace your ability to leverage that gear.
Come on, Reverend.
If you can't use the phone, then trying to upgrade to a DSLR camera ain't gonna make it any better. You haven't even learned how to use the phone. So learn how to work at the level that you currently are, and then you have a reason, you have a launch pad, you'll have a firm foundation to now grow to the next level.
Love it. Okay. Do I have permission to do comments now?
You've always had permission. I just needed to get it.
No. So the food plane eyes.
I love it. I love it.
Trish goes, interactive is important. D. Carpet says, thank you. Yes, I'm here. Foo LNL. LOL. Trish says, good afternoon. Trish says, stay safe, Florida. Yes.
Stay safe, Florida. We're praying for you.
Yeah, another how. Dr. Tachi says, hey, Trish. Minion Camp says, when I'm practicing my drawings, it's like kid channels. They make it easy to be an artist.
Absolutely.
Dr. T and Trish says, hey, Dr. Tachi.
Hey,
also, the food plane. Thank you, Dr. Tachi. I appreciate the love.
Absolutely.
Classic. Coach says, child would like to do, thinking to do together to get started with a child, I guess, responding to her question.
Okay. Yes. I think we got you covered with the response that we gave. But yes, things that a child would like to do. And listen, here's a novel idea. Ask a child. We did a whole focus group with because we're doing some children's content at the media ministry that I work, and we just had a whole focus group, and we were shocked at how specific the feedback was from these kids in terms of what types of content they wanted to see and what types of effects they wanted to have in the show and all this other stuff. I was like, okay, all right. So ask some children, what would they like to see? And because they have that buy-in and that input, listen, it'll fly off the shelf. So that's right. Yeah, that's a great point as well.
Food Plane says great advice. Classic Coach says good info. Thanks. The Food Plane sounds like a friend of mine. She goes, Minion Camp says, yes, I'm now thinking to add a new fridge magnets because you can see it in my live stream and they move around in patterns. Classic Coach says, okay, sound, light, video. Minion Camp says the Big Bang was sound.
Love it.
Minion Camp says the tree in the forest that fell down. Food Plane, you're preaching, Kirk. Take those 5 loaves and 2 fish and work it. Come on.
Yes.
Don't get me started, the Food Plane. Classic Coach says, LOL.
Come on.
Minia says, I love my LED panel lights for my second studio setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says that was the hardest part for me, not having everything I felt I needed. I got over it, I think.
Yep.
And Ed Terry says, great information. Go ahead.
Really quickly, over on Instagram, since we can't put up Instagram comments here, Instagram, fix it.
Fix it, Instagram.
Mark, fix it.
Classic C Jebs is over here too. It says, any suggestions for ring light in the glasses? I'll help with that. Don't use a ring light, but go ahead.
No. It's so the ring light. So again, this is one of those things where, you know, you do an assessment. You're like, what do you have? And of course, one of the things that two things that I always come across is the ring light and the Blue Yeti, and they're the bane of my existence. I hate both of them, but you know, but again, I still hold to my statement. Start with what you have. If that's what you have, we're going to use it. Now, the trick is to put it at an angle, right? So you see this light right here. This is it's not directly in front of me. It's at an angle and it's coming down. So the camera is here, my eyesight, or my eye line, I should say, is here. So if the ring light is up and facing down, you're still going to get the light, but you won't get the glare. And so that's the same. It's not going to be different for any other lights. But the problem for many of us is that we have the ring light and the camera's right in the middle of the ring light. There's no way to get rid of that glare if the camera is in the middle of the ring light. You're going to have to use the ring light as you would any other lighting source, as a key light, which this one is my key light, and you have a fill light here, and then there's another light above. But that is how you would situate it so that you can get a good clean video without any glare in the glasses. I'm part of the Four Eyes crew, so I know the pain, and I detest seeing it. The other thing to keep in mind is that on your screens you want to make sure that there isn't much white either. Because that will also be a glare as well. So if you notice, I just brought up a white screen on my monitor right here. You can see it. You can see it, right? So I've gotten rid of it now, and now we're back to normal. So you want to make sure that those things, these are part of the checklist, by the way. So you're not off. These are part of the checklist. Do I have my things? Do I have white on my screens? Can I get rid of it? And that's what I do to be able to make sure that I don't have that glare in my glasses.
Wow, like I haven't had too many epic conversations where the comments come in like bang, 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 bang. So
I mean, but look who we have, Dr.
Yeah, exactly.
Look who we have.
Exactly. I tell you, D. Capper says, yes, great info. Serena Will says, hey, y'all. Hey, Serena. Many on campus get a square panel light. There are so many online.
Yes, they are. They are.
Cass says, Decapper says, Cass, hey there. Food Plane says, hey, Serena. Classes coach says, LOL. we got the Indie Soup family in the house. So they're saying hello to everybody.
I love it. I love it.
Happy Monday. Trish says, lighting. Serena goes, wow, check out his angles. Nice.
Listen, this is, you're now taking me to a whole new plane.
Yes.
Because the thing is, I'm lazy, you could say. So I have a A10 Mini Pro, which has space for four cameras.
4 cameras.
I only use one. So now that people have seen your fancy newfangled angles, now I have to plug in the other cameras. Thank you, Kirk.
Well, see, this is the thing about upgrading, right? So when I started with a Logitech C920 webcam, and that's the camera that I had. So I was following my own rules, right? Start with what you have. I did upgrade to a Sony a6400 camera, which is what you're looking at right now. But this shot is that Sony that Logitech C920. So I'm just repurposing it for a different shot in my studio, as opposed to just completely getting rid of it. It is a investment that I made, and I plan to milk that thing for all it's worth. So this is what I mean by leveraging the current gear you have, such that from there now you can say, okay, well, now that I've kind of leveraged it to as best I can, maybe now I can look into buying something else. And I'm going to be honest with you, this camera, it just works. It's actually quite old now. You can't even buy it anymore, but it just works. I see no reason to move on.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you, because the camera I'm using the Panasonic Lumix G4.
Love it.
That's from 2010.
The G4 is amazing.
Yeah, it is. I have
clarity
two
on that thing.
G4s.
It's amazing. Yeah.
But and so why would I get another one for this if this works? So I think sometimes we get fooled into you have to have the latest and greatest. No, you have to have what works. And if it still works well, go with it.
Yeah, I upgrade for my mobile rig, for what I do when I go on site for productions and stuff like that. But this space is a space that I've created so that if I'm sitting on the couch and an inspiration hits me, I can walk upstairs and I can say HEY Google, turn on studio lights, and I can hit the red button because I need to be able to record that quickly. I think one of the major issues for content creators is that there's such a barrier to actually creating. They don't have spaces like this that have been set up and defined, so they can't just walk in and hit record. They've got to, okay, how did I have this light last time? Where does this mic go? That's a recipe. That's a recipe for essentially every time you think about creating, you have to now think about how do I set up and break down. That's not a way to be able to stay consistent. So having a space, and not everybody can do it. And I'll be clear, I started in a closet. So what you see now is progression because we started to make some money. If we weren't making any money, I'd still be in the closet. Yeah. So those are some of the pieces I always try to share with people. Is it didn't start like this. We progressed into it over time, and thankfully, we're not exactly where we want to be, but we're better than where we were yesterday. So we continue to grow. We continue to grow.
All right. Serena goes, wow, check out his angles again. Nice. Minion Cat says, yes, glasses are annoying. Mm-hmm. She also says 3-point lighting. I use my Walmart lights for years.
3-point lighting. Mm-hmm. Gotta have it.
Yeah. Decapital High Trish. Trish says the black purple background looks nice. Hey man, people liking your stuff. GR. Houston Jack says that's great information. I have blue light filters on my glasses and I try very hard not to have it show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a struggle.
Yeah, Trish says D, hello. Trish says third look.
3D.
3D look. Yeah.
Says I love my C920. I got 2 of them.
Me too.
Serena goes, wow. Serena goes, angles, purple lighting. Nice. Mike. Yes.
Absolutely. And LaShondra Tinsley, sorry.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to get in it from Instagram. LaShondra Tinsley says those different angles are dope.
Come on. See, for me, it's about showing people what's possible. It's also about, kind of showing like it's kind of a mess in here. So, because, if you're tempted to just see this the whole time, then you're thinking, oh, man, I can't get there. No. I got a hat on the floor next to me. I got my water bottle here. It's still a lived in space. But you get to decide, and this is where you are the creator, you are the content creator. So you get to decide what's in the square. That's your screen real estate. That's your property. You get to decide what's there. And so you get to decide what's in, you get to decide what's out. And so from this shot, I know exactly what's going to be in it. And when I go live or when I'm creating content, this is the shot. Those are the things that you want to be mindful of. We talk about those steps: sound, light, video. When we talk about video, a lot of times people just think about camera. It isn't just camera. It's about what are you going to have on the screen, right? You're going to have something that is going to showcase some pieces. Maybe you've got a QR code. You own that space. And because you own that space, you should take full advantage of it. You take full advantage of it. You decide what the graphics are. So Dr. Vibe has been putting up comments on the bottom. He owns the whole square, the entire screen. That's his screen real estate for the entirety of this show. So he's got a banner at the bottom that says Dr. Vibe and Dr. Tachi are speaking to live streaming expert Kirk R. Nugent. You guys are so gracious. But he owns that. You own that space, so you get to decide. The world is in the background. It's not just the camera. It's all of the decisions that you make that make up the entire experience of the show. And that's what people come back for. That's what people come back for. They had a reunion of what's not the Will Smith show? What was it called again? Not Will Smith. Fresh Prince
of Bel-Air. Okay.
So they had a reunion. And do you know that the set of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is still there in Hollywood? And as they walked out onto that set, they went live with a shot of the set and no one was even there yet. And people began to applaud and cry. Why? Because the set, it was part of the experience. The set was part of the show. The set meant, okay, we felt at home. Uncle Phil's going to come through that door any second. The set is a part of your content as well. Don't miss those points and those opportunities to make impact.
All right. Trish says, no one left in the closet. Minion Cam says, I don't understand the Canon SL2. And Serena goes, that part, Trish. Minion Cam says there is a meme of a webcam studio with clutter around the room in a triangle. Serena goes, you get to decide what's in the square. And Trish says, yeah, still reminds me of Hollywood Squares.
Yep.
Well, you know, we're running out of time fast, so I hope you can come back because I want to talk about the whole different platforms out there. We don't even have enough time.
I know.
Talk about the can we touch on the StreamYard thing? I mean, I think this is the news of the century.
Right.
That StreamYard now has nearly doubled in price. So talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing and what you're hearing.
So they've doubled in price. That is not even a rumor anymore. That we've seen the emails coming out. They've officially announced the new pricing plans. I'm still holding on to hope that they may do something for longstanding subscribers. A lot of folks are saying that is naive, but it is what it is. I just feel like that would be the adult thing to do on StreamYard's part at this point. People have been with them since, infancy, like since they were in beta. And so it would be good for them to honor that. I'm a longstanding Ecamm subscriber as well. Several other platforms, they have increased their prices. I don't pay those increased prices. This is not an unnormal thing. What is abnormal is that they've increased the prices across the board. They've doubled and in some cases tripled it, and they're wanting everyone to pay the new pricing structure. So that's the thing that's kind of weird. Now I want to play devil's advocate for just a little bit. There is a component of they have been rolling out new features for a very long time and have not done any price increase. And so I have seen price increases from other platforms. I have not seen one from StreamYard. I even have a video months and months ago where I was like, we're overdue for a price increase because of some of the things that they've been rolling out. Now, are we overdue for the increase that we got? No. But something, based on the features that they've added, something should have been warranted. I mean, when they did multi-streaming, where you could stream to multiple destinations, that meant that I could cancel a subscription that I was paying $29 a month to, but I didn't pay any more to StreamYard. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that warranted a price increase, but the last piece I'll say, and this is just a mindset piece for those who are longtime subscribers, two things. Number one, go and check out some of these other platforms. It's not a bad idea to be at least aware of what these other platforms are. Never get so bought into a platform that when they make a shift, you feel like you're stuck. Mm-hmm. That's just my personal philosophy. And number two, I just listen, y'all. If you're using streaming for as a hobby, as a nice to, as a I kind of want to go live. There's no real infrastructure built around it. You're not looking to make any money. Then this pricing increase, it's going to be a KO for many of you who fall in that category. Yep. But for those of us who this is a business, I've just simply passed along that cost to my clients. Okay. I have no intention. I have some clients who are not moving from StreamYard, so I can't necessarily cancel it. And so I've just passed that cost along to them. I have clients that are not moving from EVMux, clients that don't want to move from Ecamm, clients that don't want to move from Restream. This is the reason why I have all of them, because the clients wanted that particular platform. So there's many people are coming to the table with different ideas. And that's the last thing I'll share on this whole StreamYard thing. This past month, my affiliate sales has been the most I've ever gotten in the history of my affiliate program with StreamYard.
Yeah.
Wow. So for everybody that's leaving, there are new people coming in and saying, that's an okay price by me.
Yeah, because they're not used to the old pricing.
That's it.
Thing. They're not used to pricing.
That's it.
And and I did watch the video you did yesterday about the features.
That's right.
And definitely follow Kirk on YouTube, because every Sunday he brings out dope stuff and he does a lot of comparison. But have you done a video of StreamYard to EVMux recently?
I haven't.
I know you did. Yeah, you did one for StreamYard to Ecamm, but and the thing is, I'd love to use Ecamm, but Ecamm's only Mac, is it not?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So somebody asked me that today, because I do have a comparison video, EVMux and StreamYard, but I definitely need to do a video of how to transition. I'm actually working on that now. I've got my notes together. Just got to get some other pieces. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, because sometimes showing feature for feature sometimes can be difficult. So I'm trying to make that part simple. But yes, that video is coming.
Hooray. Yeah. Well, before we let you go, a few last comments. Classes coach says, yes, I like StreamYard. Serena says StreamYard doubling in price. Well, the $49 US plan is now $88, $89. Mm-hmm. So it's over 80%. Mignon Camp says, now I keep seeing ads for Riverside. Why? And she says, don't keep your eggs in one basket.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, Kirk, we value your time, so we're going to shut it down. Do you have any last things you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, I think, first of all, I absolutely love being on the platform. Can't thank you guys enough for allowing me to come in and hang out with you guys. They've put my links on screen. I'm just going to put the QR code up there for those that want to scan it. That'll take you to my digital card, and you can find wherever I'm at, you can find it all there on that card. But one of the things I always like to end with is, don't forget who brought you this content, y'all. There's a tendency for the guests to get a lot of shine. But truth of the matter is, I'm just here for this episode, and maybe I'll get a chance to come back.
No, you will. Listen, you're coming back, okay?
You're coming back.
You're coming back.
Maybe.
Maybe? Okay, no, maybe. I'll definitely be back for another episode. But the point is, Dr. Vibe, Dr. Tachi have done the work to create this platform, to create this space for us to have these conversations, for us to engage in these ways. Make sure you remember, as they say, you don't forget the one you came with, right? To the dance. So don't forget the one you came with. And the hosts are absolutely your plug for the information that you're receiving today. I'd love for you to come check us out.
Yeah.
But if you come, say, hey, I'm here because I saw you on Dr. Vibe's show. I'm here because I saw you on Dr. Tachi's show. Okay. So make sure you do that. And one thing I also want to end with is support them, y'all. Like this is a lot of work. So make sure you are supporting your creators, This is information that they had to curate. This is a time that they had to carve out. This is, as they mentioned, money they had to pay for the platform, StreamYard. None of it is free. Time especially is not free. And so just want to honor that. Get into the rhythm and the habit of whatever creator you follow, and creator that's adding value to your life. Make sure you let them know that you appreciate them and do something tangible for them, even if it's just once a year. A super chat, super thanks, maybe join their membership, whatever it might be, man. Book a consult, even if you just want to say hi. Do something that will tangibly tell them, I appreciate what you've done. I appreciate you creating this space, because we don't do that enough. And I just see that cycle repeating itself over and over in these creator streets. And if there's one message I would leave with anybody, it would be that: support the creators who are pouring into you. And that's my time.
Wow. Okay. Final comment. Serena Wills says, this was a great and informative show. She says, thank you. Absolutely. Durham Skyrider.
Hey, Pat, how's it going?
D. Cameron says, yes, it was Serena. Trish says, good show. Thank you. Mignon Ken says, you are coming back.
I don't know why he tried to play. You're coming back. I don't know what that was about.
I will be there. Serena Wills, clap emojis.
That's right.
Classic coach.
That's
clap
right.
Emojis.
That's right.
Trish,
those are for you guys. Those claps are for you guys. I'm excited about that.
Mignon Cam appears on one of my platforms monthly. Serena Wills says, Dr. Tachi and Dr. Vibe are truly Jedis of content creation. Thank you both. Hey, we couldn't do it without you, but appreciate it.
I love it.
I love it. Says clap. So, and one last conversation for you. What's next on your roadmap?
Yes.
Well, we do a masterclass every month. This coming month, so it's first Fridays of every month, we do a masterclass, and this coming month we'll be doing a class on YouTube analytics. We're doing a deep dive on how to understand the analytics. So this past Friday, we did a masterclass on content planning.
I saw that.
Yes, I saw it.
We had a lot of fun. Kat Mulvihill was our guest lecturer, and we had a lot. I mean, we just wow, it blew our expectations out of the water. So masterclass series, first Fridays of every month. It's a lot of fun. Very, very informative. We stack the deck with information, trying to make sure that folks understand exactly what they need to do. Prior to content creation, creator content planner masterclass, we did a find your topic masterclass. And then prior to that, we did a home studio masterclass. So first Fridays has kind of been a fun thing that we've been doing. I have the coaching corner every Wednesday on my channel, and I love that, as your questions are my agenda, and we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with that one. So yeah, those are some of the things we got coming up. We're gonna close out the year strong. Got some brand deals that are on the horizon, so we'll see how those go as well. So yeah, just check us out, KirkRNugent.com. He's got all my links right here, so there's no need to say anything. You got all of it right there. So definitely hit us up. We'd love to be able to chat with you.
Really quickly, let me say what Instagram has said. Great show. It's from LaShondra Tinsley. Nice. Also, Almi Robinson is clapping with brown hands. That's what I'm talking about. Fantastic. And yeah, I think I got everybody.
Good, right. Good.
George Cairo says, never saw all you together. Make it happen again. All right. Well, Kirk, as I always say at the end of all my conversations, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace. If there's anything Dr. Tachi and I can do to help you in any way, please don't be afraid to reach out.
We're
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you for your time. Be well and keep the faith.
Take care.
Take care. Have a good one. All right, that's it. Good old StreamYard there. Absolutely. Dr. Tachi, well done.
Well, yeah, and we still have people rolling in. Ron Foster is here. Hey, Ron, how are you?
Got to do the replay.
Yeah, no, this was good stuff.
And I'm so happy that, Ron Foster says, hello, everyone. D says, hello, Ron. Okay, family. I look at Serena and goes, hey, Ron, man, you have to watch replay. Incredible show. Thank you for the promo. Dr. Tachi, want to say thank you. All roads lead to Indie Soup Media. For myself. And again, here's Kirk's information on the screen. Also, if you want to subscribe to anything that I do, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Hit the notification button. Like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And if you want to advertise your business product or service on the show, email me dr.vibe@the drvibeshow.com. And there's all the contact information where you can get a hold of me. But this is what I do at the end of my conversations. Do you want to do it this time, Dr. Tachi? You probably wouldn't remember that. No.
Let's see.
Okay.
There's so many of them.
Okay, let me do it this way. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes have to get smaller
to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider,
and
love, faith, and respect. Peace be well. Keep the faith and walk good. Did I get it?
You're almost there. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith. And again, don't just manage your time. Manage your
energy. Yeah.
And I want to say, take care, family. We will do a repeat, but watch the replay and support Kirk and everybody here. God bless.
Yeah.